All right, trader. So let's check if it is working again in my phone. Let's just see in the second. So.
All right, trader.
All right.
So let's check.
It seems like it's working. So, welcome to another stream. Right. So we are looking into the dollar index in here, right? I basically have accepted some loss last week, and we'll just simply show you what's going on here. In my opinion, we will see what will be the case, right? So, what was the trade, right? What was the idea, the initial one, right? We had this weekly range in here, right? Model number one into the 50% of that range. Then we have the pullback into the 61.8 where we expecting the model number two. Now, I have realized one thing, right? I made a few mistakes last week by measuring the fib from here, right? Which actually gave me the model number two level somewhere around here, right? So I've been looking for trades in here, right? However, I've been revising the trades recently. It should be done correctly from here, right? So you can see it's giving us a better level around this CLS edge, right? So in that case, the model number two would be somewhere around here, right? Which we are right pretty much right now, right? Good morning, Riyad. Good morning, Adrian. Good morning, Simon. Audio is bad, right? Let me check. Okay. All right. Let me check now. Let me double check in here. Maybe it should be better now. Let's check the second. Is it better now? Yeah, I think it's better now. Yeah, I'm sorry. Probably something with this mic, right? Okay, so we are now in here in this level, right? Everything looks good. I still think that this somehow could play, right? The model number two. Even now it looks even better because we have this weekly range and we have this Friday's range, right, where we're getting below it, right? And if we get inside of this level, I think I will be trading, right, at least maybe this daily one, right? Because what makes me wonder and what I somehow missed on my charts and where I probably made a mistake, right, is this. If we go to the monthly, right, look what is actually happening in here, right? We had this previous month candle closing like this, right? So if you remember well, if we have the close, one candle closing below the another one, right, which is this one, where is the liquidity, right? It's here. Sorry, I didn't want to use this one. It's here, right? So this low is where is the liquidity, right? And this candle actually has closed below, even below these ones, right? And look what is here. We have actually all these up close candles, right, taking the liquidity and then sharply moving lower with the fair value gaps and closing below, right? So what is this? This is actually the order block on the monthly, right? I don't know why I didn't see that, right? So we have the order block created in the monthly in here, right? So what does it mean? This level was taken, now we're closing below it, right? Now the price could go much lower, right? Now, if this happens on the monthly, which has happened here on the beginning on this month, we need to go lower time frame to find out the trades for the continuation, right? So let's look on the weekly. So what was in here actually was this, right? We can see that that monthly candle has closed in here, right? So here was the low and the candle closed down here, and we had here actually this fair value gap, right? So price has traded inside. That's where we traded this our model number 1 in here, right? Model number 1, and now we expecting model number 2. But will it play? Will the price go deeper into this monthly order block which was created in here before the price drops lower, right? That's the question, right? Because if you look on the monthly, the liquidity is down here, right? Liquidity is down here. So it's kind of makes me thinking like if I am right in here or not, right? Because still this is a setup. We have model number 1 played, right? If you remember model number 1, good morning, Marco. So the model number 1 is actually mostly playing even in if you don't have a correctly analyzed the trend, right? So yeah, so right now I'm a little bit worried in here. Maybe what actually is also affecting a little bit my decisions is actually these things what has happened, right? As I have posted in our group, that we have these fundamentals, right? So tariff tensions again, right? And debt payment refinancing, right? So here it is actually in the June, the US Treasury is projected to refinance the debt, right? So they will be probably printing 9.2 trillions, right? And it's not only this, right? Because they have to sell the bonds to get the money. And if no one is buying the bonds, as you can see, the Japan is not buying the bonds, right? And even the Britain and some others are selling the bonds, right? So it's really big trouble for them. And it could take a dollar really deep, right? And I think what is playing here on the weekly, right? On the monthly, right? Because we can see here was nice pullback in that model number 1 in here, and now it's rejected and strongly going down, right? However, on the weekly, this is still beautiful CLS candle, right? It should be kind of rebalanced, right? So what I would play in here, what I would be looking for, if on the 4 hours we should go to the 4 hour, right? Because we have this weekly range, right, and this daily range. So even I can go 1 hour if it is daily range, right? So if we get inside this range in here, right, and we will be closing above these candles in here, then I would like to try to play maybe model number 1 here, right, on the daily. Then I will be taking some partials, or maybe model number 1 on this weekly, right? This is what I think could happen, because price could go above this Friday's highs, Friday's range, before it could continue lower, right? So what it actually could also create in here would be that we have a today, so it has opened somewhere in here, it dropped lower, right? So if this would be a today's low, right, then maybe somewhere here could be created Monday's range, right? So if the Monday's range will be created somewhere here, then most likely they will go even for this Friday's range, right? So then this would be a potential short-term long trade in here, right, before it goes low, right? But as said, do not want to predict too much, but as per the rules, the liquidity is down here, right? So that's probably something what I have missed on the dollar, but you know, it's sometimes happening, right? So we will see how it is gonna play, right? Here we have a euro, right? Similar thing. If we go to monthly, because I was looking this morning when I came back from Spain, like what's going on? Why didn't go down, right? So look, this is a monthly, right? We had some consolidation in here, right? Price dipped lower, right, below these lows, right, into this fair value gap, right? It has reversed in here, price moved higher, and it has closed above these down candles, right? So what did it create? It's a good morning, Dean. It's a order block, right? Monthly. Now we have this candle closing above this one. So where's the liquidity? Here. This is where we potentially going, right? So then, in my opinion, shorting, what I've been actually doing the last week, shorting in here, when we have two monthly candles closing like that, could be working in some kind of a short-term trade, right? That's what we had in here, right? That's the trade we had in here, right? On this weekly, right? We had the trade to the 50%, and that was perfect one, right? But right now, as the force is to the upside, we should not probably trade a model 2, right? But again, let's look at it here. What's going on, right? So we still have this range, right? Now, if we plot the fib, right, correctly from here, right, we are actually right now reaching the levels in here, right? Here is this candle, this last up one was a little bit tested in here, is the order block, right? So currently, actually, if I remove from my brain all this noise about a depth or about all these things, and I focus just on the price action, it makes sense to me to take a short in here, right? It makes sense to me because we also have this weekly range and we have the Friday's range where we are right now, right? So for me, if today we close inside here or we create the Monday range in here, which would be manipulated and close inside, I still think we could get the trade down, right? But again, from the monthly perspective, right? From the monthly perspective, here is this monthly order block, right? So price actually, if you imagine the monthly candle price went up, closed on the top, right, and then it retraced into the monthly order block to this one, right? Inside of it, it has found this, right? It has found this transition candle in here, and also this order block, right? That's where we're coming from. And then what has happened in here? Look, we had these down candles, which been dipping into this monthly level, right? And then we closing above it, right? So we are actually creating a bullish order block in here, right? So now what would be our decision, right? Look, we have a bearish order block in here, right? Then price reacting from the monthly order block and also creating a bullish order block in here, right? So we are actually right now in here in this tight range where we can do some decision, right? Most likely not good for predicting some big move down, in my opinion, right? Because also if we look to the trading plan, I think I had mentioned it somewhere in here. Right, look, lower probability conditions, price trapped between two opposing key levels, right? That's where we are right now, right? You have a weekly CLS range in here, that's all right, but here is already a order block, right? Here is also the order block, right? So in my opinion, what looks like a nice potential scenario is that price could trade down in here, right? We have this Friday's range. Maybe we don't know yet if what's gonna be the Monday range, right? We will know tomorrow. So if we trade inside in here, then in my opinion, if shorting, this would be the only target, right? Would not be trying to go deeper, right? I don't think it's in a play right now. I think the market is pricing in all of these things which we have here, but also this monthly is what have a force, right? Because this is clearly as we always looking for the accumulation, right, manipulation, and then distribution. That's what is playing in here, right? And currently, as we have created this, and we closed above these down candles, that's where they've been building the positions. We just turn it into the distribution phase, right? So where will be the target for this distribution phase? Well, probably some highs, right? So it would be somewhere here, right? So does it mean I'm gonna buy the euro and hold it until here? Of course not, right? Because why? Here we have also the order blocks, right? The candles, this one, which caused the break of this one, right? So there could be some stops, right? Or something like that. And sorry, some more daily pullbacks and more opportunities. But in my opinion, this is how the trend is set right now, and that's what I have missed, right? It was actually good. I mean, good. I gave a half, 50% of my profit from this month. I gave it back to the markets, right? Last week because I a little bit overexposed. But anyway, what I have realized is one thing, and I need to confirm that for myself, but I have learned something in here. Look, here we had this Bitcoin trade, right? And it was actually, the Bitcoin is actually bullish, but this trade has worked on the daily, right? On the daily range. So it's been working, but it was model number one. Then when I tried to trade model number two, which is actually this one. Yes, this was model number two, and this should be model number two, right? When this one played, and then model number two, it didn't work because it was higher time frame, and I'm slowly finding something that probably also here we had this euro, and if you look at this, that's the model number one, right? And it's been working on it was the weekly chart, right? Weekly worked against the monthly trend, and it was just a model number one, right? Model number two probably will not work, right? And this one is where we made the mistake, where I made a mistake, and I'm simply out of this trade, right? So it was here, right? So we have the range in here, another range, this 4 hours range, right? This 4 hours range, it played, and then it bounced from this weekly range and continue higher, right? Like this. Let me show you. Right? So it went down in here. I remember in here I was in a profit, and I was thinking like, okay, I'm gonna take a screenshot and send it to the group, right? You see, every time when you feel like you want to take a screenshots and show off, the market will punish you, right? So what I want to say is basically I'm slowly coming into the idea that model number one could in some conditions work without thinking about a trend, right? But that's something what I need to backtest a little bit more, and I need to revise the time frames which it would be possible to use, right? Okay, let's go to the pound, right? And here is the pound. We can see that we've been actually trying to be bearish in here, and it has worked in here, right? I remember we had a nice trade in here, short, and then model number two, short in here, right? Then I've been trying another short in here, which was actually wrong, right? So let's check this one in here, and what is actually important in here, right? Why I want to mention, because look, I draw out perfectly everything in here I mentioned in the previous streams. Yes, Adrian, yeah. Similar, Euro NZD, GBP NZD model number one worked and model number two hit SL, right? So that's maybe coming out into the conclusion that there actually could be a possibility if instead of looking maybe just a few pairs and trying to trade both models, maybe watching more pairs and focusing just to the model number one, maybe could bring more perfection, right? Because in the model number one, even if you make a mistake and you are not correctly aligned with the higher time frames trends, you have a chance to work to make it, right? So here is how it actually end up, right? This GBP, right? So it went higher and I've been stopped out in here, right? So what was actually and here I have made this another drawings, right, where I've been able to find a bullish case because we had also the weekly range in here, right? Price dropped lower and we've been able to trade this, right? But I didn't trade it because I was focused on the short, right? Now here is the reasons why I find out how I could actually filter out these trades, right? So basically here was these two equal highs, right? And you can see this one, it wasn't really dipping into it too much, right? We had this weekly range candle, we had these too much candles above, right? And you can see model number one dropped lower, it was okay, and then model number two fucked you up, right? It of course doesn't mean that the model number two doesn't work, but if the trend is against you, model number two will mostly not gonna work, right? And let's look to the pound on the monthly. And as you can see, the same thing, right? We can see that we had the set all this while model number two was my favorite, not anymore after this episode. Yeah. But look, model number two still gives quite nice trades, right? But it's a question, right? If you want to do what you want to do, right? Obviously, if you remember Bruce Lee, one kick 10,000 times, right? Maybe the model number one is the way, right? So look, here we have also, we have the GBP, right? Consecutive down candles, taking the liquidity in here, right? Then we going up, right? This candle on the monthly didn't close above, but here is where we've been, right? So we had actually almost this is these two equal highs, right? And we've been shorting in here, right? So it was actually just a consolidation before this break up higher, right? So where do I think the price is going right now? I think this high is the next target, right? Obviously I still have highlighted this weekly range, this previous week CLS, right? This one, because I'm doing it every time, right? For the that's how I simply view the markets, right? So yeah, so what's gonna be happening here, right? We think price going higher, we did some expansion, right? We probably get some pullback, right? So what would be possible to trade here, right? We need to go 4 hours, 1 hour, right? And what we could trade, right, is counter trend, but just a model number one, right? Just a model number one in the counter trend, right? That's what we should do. In this case, right now, for me, that would be obviously the best thing what could happen to trade is if the daily range, which is happening in here, right, create a high in here, then drops lower, right, maybe into the 50% of this Friday's range, creates a new range in here, right, and then trading below this range, right? That would be perfect setup for me, right? That's what I would be looking for, right? Okay, so let's check. Where is my mouse? Let's check what we have in here. Here is a USD JPY, right? And again in here, look, here was a weekly CLS range, this one, right? Let's go lower time frame, 4 hours, right? We played this here was a model number 1, right, from here to here, and then model number 2 pullback from here to here, right? We traded this perfectly. It was actually absolutely amazing trade, this second one, right? Look, this was beautiful, right? Beautiful. This trade actually made almost the most profit in this month, right? But right now, what I actually did in here, I was trying to trade something around here, right? Let's look exactly. I was trying to enter in here after this weekly range below, right? But look, I didn't get any confirmation, anything, right? Simply I had just this level and I was trying to trade it, right? While what has already happened in here, look, right? Model number 1 already played, model number 2 already played, and then trying to, here is where I was trying to enter again. Liquidity was taken in here, right? And I was trying to enter again without fucking setup, right? So mistake, right? Big mistake in here. Now what's going on in here, we can see we have the last week range, we have the Friday's range, right? Price taking it, and now it's moving higher, right? So it's giving a setup currently, and I think it could play out, right? In here, maybe 2 to 50%, right, or something like that, right? Yeah, so that's what's going on right now. Is the question, is this deep enough, right? I'm not sure. Also, we have this week we have actually today we have this, right? US holidays, right? So not sure how this is gonna move. Yeah, so that's it. That's it, what I would say for today. Actually, I want to check also on the Bitcoin, right? Similar thing, right? You need to look to the higher time frame. What happened on the higher time frames, right? Look, consecutive candles down, dip in here, right? There was actually a beautiful range in here on this, right? If you measure this, right, you see we dipped inside. She was from here, I think I didn't count that wick, right? Inside here on the daily, here was below this transition candle, right? Exactly. Now on the monthly, this is order block, right? So we turned bullish after the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of the consolidation, right? It was expansion after the Trump won the election, and it was around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, right? He was that CLS range, right? And as it was traded, this CLS range is actually now order block, right? So those who thinking selling the right now after this consolidation manipulation, we are turning into the expansion, right? We will most likely go higher. Would not be selling here, right? Best entry, where would be? Right? Where would be the best entry? Of course, if we dip down into this fair value gap on the weekly, right? And again, we need to see a CLS candle as a setup, right? Because as you can see, here are some experts who simply get too overconfident, right? And then trying to trade something what already has played, right? I'm of course talking about me, right? So yeah, made some mistakes. Look what I have eaten recently, right? Loss, right? Some losses, but also I had a wins, right? So for now I'm still quite good 14k plus for this month, but I need to calm down a little bit, right? Not to be too overconfident, because you see where it's leading, right? So again, every time when you think you know everything, that you get too confident, you get humbled, right? So yeah, it's not a drama, it's not the end of the world. Important is to learn the lessons, right? In this stage, what I'm gonna do, right? I did, right? Reanalyzed the mistakes, what I did in here, right? Why this worked, why this didn't work, right? And again, right, need to go again through my trading model, through my trading plan, and read it again, right? Go again through all these time frames, right? Through everything, if I'm doing it right, and remind myself to stay humble and follow the trading plan, right? Because last week I did a lot of mistakes. In my opinion, I should trade a little bit differently, but that's the markets, right? You will most likely, you will simply see the markets differently than you've seen it before. That's absolutely normal. You will miss some things, as I missed this monthly change, right? Because I probably wasn't. It's my mistake, right? We cannot say. It would be too easy to say, "Oh, it's because the Trump said this, because the Trump tariffs, or the dollar is going to be bad because these fundamentals." It's only way to find excuses, right? Mistake was here on my side, right? I didn't look properly on the monthly, and I didn't follow this, right? So I need to write it up into my mistakes, so I will simply avoid it next time, right? Anyway, guys, Bitcoin is 110k. It's great, right? We're going much higher. Okay, my friends, so this is it for today. I hope you learned the lesson from my mistake, and I see you in our community and tomorrow. Bye bye, my friends.